Good evening, wrestling fans, and welcome to this week's episode of SICW Championship Wrestling. Some people call it All-Star Wrestling. You call it whatever you want as long as you're tuning in here each and every Sunday night and watching us. And look at my big guest here tonight. Once again, the big Texan joining me here at the studio. But fans, last night was a barn burner at the Belle Claire Fairgrounds. But before we talk about that, the news that everybody has been asking for. And
Jim,
my
God.
Texan, I know you've been waiting. Last night, fans were coming up during the show asking, and so we kind of let the cat out of the bag. FanFest 4.
Yeah, it was great. You know, you guys spilled the beans in the ring, and it just like everything just rumored to the back, and all the boys in the back were like, "What? What did we just hear?"
Well, and again, it's since last year last year. We're into the new year now.
Right.
FanFest 3, everybody knows what happened. It was there. All of our guests that came from 38 different states, a couple different countries even, they knew the tornado would come through, and our prayers go out to all of those who were affected by that. But we still had a great FanFest 3.
Oh, we did.
But it's a lot of work, as you know. You put a lot of work into it, and a lot of the guys do, and so we were kind of, well, do we do another one, do we don't? I bit the bullet, and yes, FanFest 4 was announced last night. It's going to be over at the Radisson Hotel. There you see on your screen, the Radisson Hotel and Conference Center in Fairview Heights, Illinois. That's right, it's over on the Illinois side this year. And there you'll see right there, Barbara Goodish has already been confirmed to come in for the Bruiser Brody Memorial, as she always does. But our special guest that Friday night will be here to do his one-man show. We're talking about whatever you want to call him. You want to call him Mick Foley? You want to call him Mankind?
Cactus Jack?
Dude Love?
Dude Love?
They may all be there. And I know you've seen his one-man show that he's done before.
Man, I've been a big fan of Mick Foley's forever. Ever since the Cactus Jack days and like WCW and all the territory systems. But his one-man show is awesome. I mean, in Vegas when they did that roast of Mick Foley, that was awesome. I'm sure he's going to talk about it all too. So
yeah. So you want to, you can go to SICW.org, to our website. It's up and ready to go. Like I said, we put this all together in the last week. I've had a lot of people in my ears texting me, our good friends from Canada, Alan Johnson and all of them, people from all over texting me and say, hey, have you got the date yet for FanFest 4? So this all come together pretty quickly. In fact, you just didn't know about it until last night.
I said, as soon as we started hearing like little rumors, everyone's ear was to the door just trying to figure out what was going on. But I do want to tell you guys, I want to appreciate and thank you guys for getting in this guy's ear to actually rolling the dice with FanFest 4, because there was some rumors and we thought we were not going to have one. But thank you guys for tuning in and calling this man up and getting the ball rolling.
Well, and for all of you, like I said, everybody from all over. I've had calls from Florida, Oklahoma already.
Canada.
People saying, hey, when are we going to have it? And again, it's a lot of work, but I've got a good support staff, people like yourself, Brian Whitaker, my family, Jason, Christie, all of them. And in fact, I'll probably be in trouble with him because I didn't tell him until Friday that I was going to make pull the plug on it and go with it. And of course, when you get somebody like Mick Foley and you got Barbara Goodish to lead off that pack of talent that's going to be coming in, I think FanFest 4 is going to be just as big, if not bigger, than the first three.
I mean, Mick Foley, he's been making the news, the headlines all year, and it's just going to be great. I've known a lot of people that traveled to go see his shows. This time his show is coming to us, so that's going to be even better.
That's great. So you're going to hear much more about this. We're a little behind the ball now because of me procrastinating, but for the next 4.5 months, 5 months, that's what you're going to be hearing. FanFest 4 in Fairview Heights, Illinois. If you would throw that flyer back up there real quick and let our viewers take a look. That's Friday night features. It's going to be Mick Foley's one-man show, Wrestling for FanFest, along with the whole weekend of the Bruiser Brody Memorial. We also tie in the anniversary of the Wrestling at the Chase. So we're going to have a lot more work to be done on this, as I said. But the Radisson Hotel, hats off to them very well. Crystal, the lady out there that took care of us. I mean, we actually only had 2 meetings with her before I signed the contract.
Wow.
And but you'll be able to go to the website SICW.org, the link directly to the hotel room, to the hotel to reserve your rooms if you're coming in to stay. They kept the price as reasonable as they could for us. It's a nice facility, nice rooms, got a nice bar area with an outdoor patio. So I think it's going to be, it will fit our needs for FanFest 4.
Definitely.
And I don't want to hear about FanFest 5 yet.
Oh, never too early.
Yes.
Guys. Just a phone call away.
So that's the big news. That's what we blew the roof off the beautiful Belle Claire Fairgrounds last night to a capacity crowd. What a show that was for the St. Clair County Animal Services, raising some funds for our 4 little-legged dogs and kitty cats. They had a few of them on there. They were trying to get adopted out. I don't know if they did or not, but people came from all over. Seen a lot of new people that came out to support that organization, and that's what we do here at SICW is help nonprofit organizations, organizations like the St. Clair Animal Services, who go out there and take care of these stray dogs and cats that get turned into them, or somebody moves away and leaves them. They have to have a home, and so the animal services do that, and they always need those extra funds to help take care of those animals, and we really appreciate the job they do, and I appreciate each and every one of you who came out to last night. Jim, you were in action last night.
Yeah, man, it was a big match, against the Super Assassin. 2 big guys just battling back and forth. So, I mean, it was a great match. But we had 2 co-main events basically last night, too. 2
co-main events. The SICW Classic title was on the line. Strictly Business Brandon Beretta, the young man who you know real well. Who you had a lot to do with his up-and-comings through the Ace Wrestling Academy.
Yeah.
And I know we've talked about this before out of the wrestling business, but his attitude has changed, and he sure proved that again last night. But he took on Belleville's own Bobby D, and what a brawl that was. And maybe in a couple of weeks, if time will allow us, we'll maybe bring you some footage of that to show you what happened there. But then the co-main event, the Central States title, the Double J, James Jeffries.
James Jeffries, man. Throwback kid is what I like to call him, because he just reminds me of like Kerry Von Erich and like Dingo Warrior / Ultimate Warrior. But he's like a throwback, and man, so much respect for that guy. And he was our Central States champion.
Oh, yeah, it was, and again, he's been defending that title all up around Minnesota, places like that, out through the Midwest. And Glenn Williams, of course, has been accusing him of evading him, just running in the opposite direction. And that's the farthest thing from the truth. Glenn has been defending that title. And he's coming back now. And when I called him, he said, yeah, and I want to give Big Nasty Glenn Williams his rematch. And we'll see if he can do it.
What he said is, I'm tired of hearing Glenn Williams cry, sending me messages basically begging me to come back. It's okay. I can let the secret out.
Well, and there's no secret that Big Nasty Glenn Williams is on a high. I mean, I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if he's just obsessed with James Jeffries. And for some reason now he's obsessed with, of all people, the WWE legend, JBL.
Right. And I don't know his thinking, because I've given Glenn Williams plenty of lariats. And, if there's one person I would say that throws a harder lariat than me, it's JBL.
Yeah, you can ask Stephen E. that.
Yeah.
He found out last year over at the Missouri Athletic Club. But for some reason, Big Nasty Glenn Williams is, for the last couple of weeks, almost a month now, has just been nitpicking. It's no secret. He usually watches, or if you're a new follower tonight, he has airtime, and we're going to go to that right now, and we're going to hear from Big Nasty himself with this week's episode of Nasty Talk.
All right, guys, I know this isn't the normal way we do things and start the show. Normally we have the set and everything, but I'm on a mission from God, okay? So I've been getting creative. We did spoken word, did some nasty burns. I mean, we've really poked the bear on this one. And so I thought that I would air some footage of an interview I did recently. And you're going to get some familiar vibes. I thought, since he hasn't answered quite yet, maybe it's time we make things feel a little, ruthless aggression.
All right, and we are live here. This is Tuggin' Hog. And tonight, we've got an amazing guest. We've got a special guest. That's right. You've guessed it. It's the one, the only, the star of the show. It is Big Nasty, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Big Nasty, the question on everybody's mind, what you got on your mind for 2026? Hey, look, I don't want any trouble. Hey, look, I'm sorry. You know what? What do I have in store for 2026? You're going to have to excuse me, Tuggin' Hog. I'll tell you exactly what I have in store for 2026. I'm going to first start it off by beating James Jeffries and getting the Central States Championship back. Going to be a double champ because I'm already one half of the SICW Tag Team Champions. Super Nasty. And I swear to God, if it is the last thing that I ever have to do, I am going to get an answer out of you, JBL. I have called you out for weeks and in such a unique fashion, such a unique way. And the thing about it is that I know that you've seen the videos. And what makes me a little more upset is that I know you've seen me wrestle. And I know you've heard me talk. And I know that you think I'm incredibly entertaining. Yet you still won't say the magic words. You won't accept my challenge. And why? Why? Why is it? You just keep playing this game. Cryptic. Picture of your boots. Picture of you with Al Snow in the ring. Yet you're still not saying a thing about my challenge. Because the truth is, and this is a shoot, I know that in that tank of yours, you still got some magic in you. And I want to be the one to wring you dry of every last drop of it. So just say the magic words, JBL. Say, I accept your challenge, Big Nasty. I am going to wrestle one more match. Because if you keep ignoring me, you're going to learn soon enough that I am a pretty persuasive guy. I am relentless. I get what I want because I'm willing to do things, well, by any means necessary. That means even if you won't come to me, I might just have to come to you. I wonder if there's any signings or appearances going on anytime soon. One way or another, you are going to say, yes, Big Nasty, I will face you in one more match. And you're also going to say that everywhere I go, JBL, I'm the star of the show.
Ignore me one more week. See if I don't make a country diss track on your ass.
Well, there you have it, fans. Like I said, Big Nasty Glenn Williams. Whether you like him or not, most of us don't. He never lost for words, and you heard it right there. And for whatever reason, I think he stays up all day, all night, and just dreams about who he can aggravate. Right now, he's aggravating the hell out of me, but that's okay. what we want to do right now is, Jim, the SICW road trip, part of it was on the road. I went down to Atlanta, Georgia to see my good friend Abdullah the Butcher for his 85th birthday.
85 years.
85 years old. Happy birthday again, my friend. He's had some health issues this last year. And he's on the road to recovery, but to be able to say you're celebrating your 85th birthday party around friends and family, it says a lot.
Oh yeah, I mean the who's who was there, so it was a crazy show just from the stuff that I seen on Facebook and everything like that everyone's posting. But man, he's been a long friend of yours. I've just got to know him the last few years himself. He's such a great guy. Truly a legend.
Yeah, I've got that photo of you when you had him in a wheelchair and reeling him up to his room. And
I posted one the other day of when I unfortunately was in the masks, the bad Texan, and I was still, Abdul the Butcher, every Heels fan, basically, and I got a picture with that too. So he's a great guy.
Well, and I think that's one thing that will take just a minute. It's what we do here at SICW. We like to pay homage to these legends who laid that foundation for what you guys are continuing to build on. And so that's one of the reasons I've had over the years people say, why do you bring in those old timers? Well, one, I think they deserve it. Two, I think there's still a good percentage of our wrestling fans out there that enjoy meeting these legends. And that's why, we bring in the Tito Santana's, Cowboy Bob Orton's with us quite a bit, Haku, and, some of those guys may show up at FanFest 4 again.
I'll give you a hint. Sometimes it's not for the fans. Sometimes it's just for us because we love listening to the stories that they tell, all the road stories, and just, the stuff that we can take away from them about matches and how to work and everything else. I mean, it's just truly inspirational. These legends come through and guide us.
Well, I was doing a podcast a couple of weeks ago, and that was one of the questions that came up. And I've probably had half a dozen or so road trips where I've had back the late great Terry Funk and Cowboy Bob Orton on road trips.
Oh my God!
And each time that I've had them in a car, a road trip, I've heard some of them stories over and over. And guess what? They don't change. They get better as far as the way they tell it.
Yeah.
And then they remember something that maybe somebody else was there.
Yeah,
and
triggers another thing.
It's one of those car trips where if the speed limit is 75, I want to set the cruise on about 50, so it takes me longer to get to where we're going so I can continue to hear them stories.
Yeah.
And it's that way with everybody. Haku, when we've been out in Vegas or up in Waterloo, Iowa, or when he's been in here with us, just to sit around and listen to him tell the stories, and other guys who have been out with him that traveled the roads with him.
Yeah.
So those are memories, those are things that you want to have forever.
And definitely, Abdul has been all around the world multiple times. And if you want to listen to anyone, that's one guy I would listen to.
Well, and that was the good thing about this celebration. I couldn't be there for the Saturday event because we had our show here last night. But Friday night, they had a Q&A session. The people that showed up, and they were just sitting around doing what we're doing now, talking about it.
Yeah.
And somebody'd say, hey, Abby, remember when you did this, when you were in Japan, or when you were in Puerto Rico, or when you were here? And the one question was when him and Bruiser Brody was at the DuPont High School and the Collinsville High School, and I had him up there years ago. People was like, oh man, you've been all over.
Well, yeah, it's the fans here in St. Louis area that remembers all that, remembers the tradition of wrestling at the Chase, and remembers that you are the ones that bring in these legends in, and to carry that on with us as well. I mean, it's just incredible.
Well, fans, we got a lot more to talk about tonight, but right now we're going to take a little break, a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to give you a classic match from Wrestling at the Chase. That's what we're all about here at SICW. Wrestling fans, get ready. It's here. It's been announced. SICW FanFest 4 is coming to Fairview Heights, Illinois. That's right, at the Radisson Hotel on Friday, May 8th and Saturday, May 9th. Already announced. Right there you see Mick Foley. That's right. Himself will be at the Radisson Hotel along with the widow of Bruiser Brody as we celebrate the memorial of Bruiser Brody. That's Friday, May 8th and Saturday, May 9th. You can go to SICW.
June 21st, 1981, the Omni in Atlanta, Georgia Harley race removes a gold belt symbolic of the World Heavyweight title prior to his match against the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. Rhodes wants that gold belt again. He had it once before, less than a week, following a victory over Race, and then he lost it back to Race. And now 20 minutes into the grueling battle, Rhodes has the advantage on Race. He's driven Race backward with punches, but Race can never be counted out. He scores with a headbutt that drops the colorful American Dream. Race pushes Rhodes down, lines up the knee, and drives it into the head of Dusty Rhodes. Race feeling a little more confident now. He knows Rhodes has been shaken. He goes outside the ring, begins to mount the ropes to try to score with an atomic drop. But Dusty Rhodes is just as tough as Harley Race, just as tough as any man who's ever stepped inside that ring. He pitches Race off the top rope and crashes him into the middle of the ring, then zeroes in with an elbow drop squarely onto the forehead of Race. Race, groggy now. He's covered by Dusty Rhodes. At the count of 2, Race manages to throw off Rhodes and save the gold belt. At least save it for the time being. Rhodes measuring Race, coming to his feet, reaching for Race's head, but Race drives that head into the midsection of Dusty Rhodes. And then Harley Race scores with a forearm smash to the neck of Rhodes. Race pulls Rhodes forward, hooks the head, going for the suplex, but Rhodes blocks it. Rhodes blocks Harley Race's favorite weapon, the suplex, and then Rhodes lifts Race and scores with a suplex of his own. Dusty Rhodes comes down with an elbow, but Race calling on that instinct, calling on that toughness, calling on that positive refusal to ever break, rolled away. Race goes for the diving headbutt, but Rhodes alertly rolls out of the way, and it's Race whose head is slammed into the mat. Rhodes outside the ring. Race spots him there. Harley Race going out of the ring after Dusty Rhodes. Out into the aisle. It's Harley Race and Dusty Rhodes battling toe-to-toe, slugging it out on the floor of the Omni in Atlanta, Georgia. Race gouges the eyes of Rhodes and then grabs Rhodes' head and slams it into the press table. Race trying to crawl back in and beat the count, but Rhodes stops him, grabbing the leg. The referee telling Rhodes to release Race. Rhodes, realizing that he could be counted out of the ring, goes up onto the apron. Race, not knowing where Rhodes is right now. He's lost track of where Dusty Rhodes is. He doesn't see Rhodes high up in the air. 265 pounds, flies through the air, catches Race with a flying cross-body block, and a new world champion is crowned June 21st in Atlanta. Dusty Rhodes has the gold belt for the second time, and Harley Race, a stunned loser, dethroned as the kingpin. The crown, at this point, belonging to Dusty Rhodes. But now, let's move ahead to September the 17th, 1981, Memorial Hall in Kansas City, and Nature Boy Ric Flair is the challenger for Dusty Rhodes. Rhodes, at this point, is already signed for a match against Harley Race. He beat Ric Flair in St. Louis in August. A good, clean victory right in the middle of the ring. But Rhodes' mind now probably a little bit more on Harley Race than it is on Ric Flair as Rhodes removes the gold belt. Ric Flair waiting as Lou Thesz displays that gold belt all around the ring. And let's move ahead a little bit. It's about 25 minutes into the match when Rhodes throws a knee at Flair. Flair sidesteps, and Rhodes, who'd been caught earlier in the match in the figure 4 leg lock, is once again trapped in the same figure 4 leg lock by Nature Boy Ric Flair. Flair came into wrestling like a rocket. He shot right to the top, and Dusty Rhodes knows that certainly Ric Flair is a top contender, but as Rhodes would be the first to say at this point, at this date, at this point in time, his mind was probably more on Harley Race than it was on Ric Flair. But that's no excuse, because every time a champion steps inside the ring, he knows he can lose that gold belt. He knows the pressure is on. He knows what is at stake. And right here, Dusty Rhodes knows that he has to hang on. He has to endure as Ric Flair tries to rip the tendons and the ligaments in the knee of Dusty Rhodes with the figure 4 leg lock. Rhodes trying to turn it over. Maybe he can reverse the figure 4 on Flair. Maybe he can get over to the ropes. The title is at stake, the biggest prize in wrestling, hanging in the balance as Flair grinds away with that figure 4 leg lock. Thesz checks the shoulders of Rhodes. Rhodes manages to get up before the count of 2, but his knees are taking tremendous pressure right now. Rhodes again trying to reverse it, trying to roll over with the figure 4 leg lock, hoping to get to the ropes at the very least. Rhodes using all the power in his leg, and think of the strain right now that he's putting in his own knees. Rhodes ends up underneath the ropes. The referee tells Flair to break up the figure 4, and Thesz has to pry the legs apart, has to literally pull Flair outside of the figure 4 leg lock. Flair going outside the ring. He sees that Rhodes is dazed, having trouble getting his feet. He tries to dive bomb Rhodes. Rhodes sees him on the top rope, nails Flair with a punch to the stomach. Rhodes underneath Flair. If he can deliver a suplex from that angle, but look out, the knees give way. The knees give way. And Rhodes falls beneath Ric Flair, and Flair covers Rhodes. Ric Flair has captured the World Heavyweight title. That was September the 17th in Kansas City. And that gold belt is still with Nature Boy Ric Flair, despite the fact that Dusty Rhodes is hot on his trail, along with Harley Race, Jack Briscoe, Ken Patera, Kerry Von Erich, David Von Erich, and so many others. But now the gold belt belongs to none other than flamboyant Nature Boy Ric Flair.
The second main event, a one fall with a 10-minute time limit. Introducing from Nashville, Tennessee, weighing 230 pounds, Roy Rogers. From Minneapolis, Minnesota, weighing 243 pounds, the World Heavyweight Champion, Nature Boy Ric Flair.
Well, we said we had a surprise for you, and needless to say, it is the appearance of the World Heavyweight Champion, Ric Flair. Flair yelling. He wants to know who's going to handle his robe. He wants to make sure it's somebody he can trust. And of course, you know, most of Flair's robes cost in excess of $5,000 a piece. And I don't even want to think about how much that gold belt costs, because that has some value.
You can keep these women off me long enough, I'm going to get in and show you how a champion really looks.
I think you could hear what Flair said, but just in case our sound man, Charlie McDaniel, didn't quite catch it, he says, if you can keep these women off me, I'll get in there and show you how a champion really looks. I gotta tell you, he had a lot of cheers from the ladies here in the audience. He is not without his fans, and neither is Dusty Rhodes. Roy Rogers, a newcomer to wrestling at the Chase, is yanked into the corner by the World Heavyweight Champion, and a clean break from the Nature Boy. He struts back. Flair. How do you describe him in one word? Daredevil, reckless, gambler, flamboyant, gaudy, exciting, always. He is all of those things. Flair with a hammerlock on Roy Rogers, yanking the arm up behind Rogers' back. The world champion tries to get the shoulders of Rogers down. Rogers tries to bridge, get the shoulder up, manages to roll out, goes behind Ric Flair. Not for long. Oh! Does he have his basics down cold instinctively? Did you see that move by Flair? And he cradles Rogers. The referee trying to get in to check the shoulders. Flair had that cradle on so tightly that actually kept the referee from getting in there to check the shoulders. And Flair is not happy about it. He said, when his shoulders are down, you should be counting. The Nature Boy struts around that ring, and this crowd starts screaming. I think they'll be screaming when Dusty Rhodes comes down that aisle. The man who was so proud of that gold belt said he wanted for the people, a plumber's son from Texas. He says, I grew up in dusty, dirty gas station, and there was Ric Flair driving his Cadillacs with his own personal weightlifting equipment, going to Colorado to ski in the winter when he's only a teenager, going to Florida in the summer to spend time on the beaches. Couldn't be a bigger contrast between two opponents when you compare Flair to Dusty Rhodes. And Rhodes can handle the tough stuff. He came up the hard way. He can take the knocks. He's proven it twice. He defeated Harley Race for the gold belt, and Race is tied with Lou Thez for the most times winning wrestling's biggest prize. 6 different times Race was the World Heavyweight Champion. That gold belt has history that goes back to 1905. You're talking of people like Strangler Lewis wore that belt, or the predecessor to it. People like Lou Thez, like Wild Bill Longson, like Gene Kaniski, who will be the special referee when Flair and Rhodes square off for all the marbles. Flair catches Rogers with a blast to the side. Flair with an elbow smash to the head of Rogers, knocking him to the ropes. Flair batters Rogers head first into the top turnbuckle. Flair lifts Rogers, backbreaker by the world champion. Flair retreating across the ring, lining up the head, yes, the knee, across the forehead of Roy Rogers. Flair covers Rogers, cradles the leg. Rogers throws Flair off. Flair hurls Rogers into the corner. Talk about strength, boy. He almost took his arm right out of the socket. He threw him into that corner. Flair has plenty of power of his own, and then he clamps the head, and look where the forearms are, right across the cheekbones. That hurts worse than a regular headlock, and no wonder Rogers is squirming and ending up in the ropes. Flair pulls Rogers off the ropes and throws him through the ropes and right out into the front row practically. A hard spill to the cement floor. Compliments of the Nature Boy who struts around that ring. How long can he keep up that pace he's at? Night after night, the gold belt on the line, living as fast and hard as he does. Ric Flair doesn't seem to be any the worse for wear. He yells at the referee. He's just battering young Roy Rogers around. Rogers in there with a man who is simply at the peak of his game. Look at Ric Flair batter Roy Rogers, the world champion. Oh, that Flair, just a mile a minute pace. Never stops, just keeps going. Rogers is being battered by Ric Flair. Rogers on the apron, pulled into the ring by the world champion. Flair whips Rogers to the ropes, catches him with an elbow to the chin.
5 minutes have elapsed, 5 minutes left.
The world champion grasps Rogers to the side, saddle, suplex. Flair covers Rogers. Rogers manages to get his shoulder up, and don't ask me how, because he has taken a pounding from the world champion. Flair takes a shot to the stomach, and maybe youth and stamina are going to pay off for Rogers. He landed a couple of blows, but Flair hangs in there. Knee lift to the head. Ric Flair, he played football, wrestled at the University of Minnesota. He's got a tremendous athletic background. Flair caught in a jackknife and cradle. Hey, the champion's shoulders are down, but only for a count of one. Flair quickly back up on top. He grabs Rogers, has him in the air, setting him up. Oh, pile driver. The pile driver by the world champion Ric Flair. Rogers' foot is on the bottom rope. There'll be no count of three here. And maybe it's a good thing for Rogers he landed where he did. Rogers gasping. His eyes are glassy. I don't think he knows he's in the ring, but he certainly knows he's in there with a tornado. A gaudy, colorful, charismatic tornado named Ric Flair. The world champion pounding with those forearms, and I mean to tell you, he drives them home, just bangs them in there. Rogers pulled clear across the ring by Flair. He lifts Rogers to the air. Atomic knee drop, jamming the tailbone down into the knee.
Now you know he's wrestling the world champion.
Now he knows he's wrestling the world champion. So says Ric Flair, and I have to admit, I am impressed by Flair today so far. Flair has Rogers in the air, suplex by Flair. Rogers is done. Flair still not satisfied. Flair still not satisfied. Elbow drop. Nature Boy Ric Flair is dishing it out. He's going for the figure four. The figure four leg lock. The figure four, the one that rips ligaments apart. And Roy Rogers submits quickly. Ric Flair has just destroyed Roy Rogers. Flair absolutely made mincemeat out of Rogers, a good young wrestler. But the world champion wanted to let everybody know he has what it takes to wear the gold belt. Here's Mickey.
In 6 minutes and 58 seconds with the figure four, the winner, the world's heavyweight champion, Nature Boy Ric Flair.
Some people in wrestling say that the world champion Ric Flair may burn out. He lives so hard and so fast and wrestles with such a reckless style. But Rick, you certainly look sharp today.
I'll tell you what they say more about Ric Flair than anything else. I'll quote a few of the women in St. Louis, for instance. You hear them over there? You see, in the eyes of the women of St. Louis, I've been the champion for a long, long time, not just 3 months. As a matter of fact, in the eyes of the women all over this world, I have been the champion for a long, long time. You know, I even see, come here, you see, they got Dick the Bruiser's girlfriend here today. Put that camera on her right there. Huh? They even got the Bruiser's girlfriend here today, while the Nature Boy struts his stuff and looks better and more magnificent every day. Now, we're talking about Dusty Rhodes. And the only reason I took time out of my schedule to be here today is because Mushnick, another one of his upper-handed, lower-handed deals, has put me in a match with Dusty Rhodes. knowing damn well that I don't want anything to do with him. Why should I wrestle Dusty Rhodes?
Rick.
Did he wrestle me? Go
Rick,
ahead.
Dusty Rhodes says that you wouldn't even have the gold belt, if it hadn't been for the fact he was concentrating for a match with Harley Race, that you
Yeah.
were lucky. He's saying you were lucky.
Is that right? Is that what they're saying in St. Louis now?
That's what some people are saying.
That
That's what
I'm
Rhodes
lucky?
is saying.
That the world champion is lucky? The greatest athlete, the most finely tuned wrestling machine of all time? Well, right here in St. Louis. Rhodes, it's you and I, brother. You and I for this. Now, you look at this long and hard, you people in St. Louis. This is 10 pounds of pure gold, the most prestigious trophy in all of professional wrestling. 10 pounds of pure gold. There are men that would go out and stand in front of a car running 60 miles an hour to say they wore this for one day, and it's mine because I beat Dusty Rhodes. It's mine because I can beat any man alive. And right here in St. Louis, I don't care if it's Sam Mushnick's retirement or not. Dusty Rhodes, you are going nowhere that I don't let you go. St. Louis, woo, it's going to be on fire. I'm going to bring my biggest limousine. I'm going to be as dressed as finely as any man can be dressed. And when I walk down that aisle, woo, you're going to know that you are looking at the greatest NWA World Heavyweight Champion of all time, Ric Flair.
Ric Flair, thank you, Rick. And we'll be back with more.
There you have it, fans. Another great classic match from the days of wrestling at the Chase. As you've heard me say millions of times, Sam Muchnick, Larry Matisek, Mickey Garagiola, Joe Garagiola, Pat O'Connor, Lou Thez, Harley Race, Johnny Valentine, Cowboy Bob Ellis.
And the list just keeps
and the
going
list goes
on and
on
on
and on and on. And that's what we are here at SICW. 53 years next month I've been doing it. And you've heard us say this also. If I had any regrets, it's that I can't go back and do it all over again. That's what Gene Kaniski told Larry Matisek and myself prior to his death. And that's the only regret we have. Wouldn't that be something?
Oh my God,
Man, oh
if
man.
we can just relive those moments. I mean, the moments are special to me. You know, I lived those moments throughout with my dad, and that is special. So it's just, yeah, it's all about those moments.
Well, and it's been special for me because growing up, as I've said before, my mother and I were joined. The glue was the wrestling. She was my mother, but she was my best friend. But wrestling was that glue, and we look forward to watching that little television in the housing projects and watching Farmer Marlin and Lou Thez and people like that. And so then to think years later on, I get introduced to the Larry Matiseks of the world, the voice that came into our living room every week.
Have you ever sat back and just realized what you've been able to accomplish and what you've been able to do in wrestling?
You know, and that's a good question. I think about it all the time. You know, as you know, you're the same way. You, outside of your career, your wrestling is your life with your family. And my kids are grown up. My son Jason has taken a real big interest in the business, and you remember at Cauliflower Alley, that was my last. I said, "Hey, I expect you to give him the same respect you've all given me when he can fill my shoes." And boy, he's getting ready to fill them, I think.
Oh yeah, man, he's got a lot to live up to. But just in retrospect, you know, a wrestler. You bringing in a legend and me being able to sit down one wrestler to a legend and listen to him, and you know, it almost like we become friends, an instant friend right there. But you were actually best friends with Larry Matisek. I mean, that alone, and being able to be in the same room as Sam Muchnick and learning from the best. I mean, that's just.
Well, and I say that all the time, that meeting Larry was that golden day. It was like a dream come true. And then when he introduced me to Sam, it was like I'm sitting there with the god of wrestling.
Right,
you know,
right.
And you get tongue-tied. But I've said it all along, without them two gentlemen and then without the likes of my other dear friend, Bruiser Brody, to be able to have them show me how to tread the waters, in other words, how to negotiate with the workers and how not to be taken advantage of meant a lot.
I'm sure Brody taught you that one.
He did good. He did good. In fact, that's the story Abdullah and I talked about when I was down there this last weekend. My first encounter with him, prior to me negotiating with him, Brody always would make those arrangements, him and Larry. And I mean, the day that we were sitting at Larry's house and Frank was passing through, and he'd stopped, and we went out and got dinner that night. And then the next day we were going over some future matches that we were putting together, and Abby we needed Abby involved. And Frank says, well, you need to call Abby and make the arrangements. And I was like, what did you just say? And he laid it out for me. He said, now this is how he's going to do it. He's going to try this. He's going to try that. And it was like it was all rehearsed. And sure enough, I called Abby, and everything that Brody had told me that Abby was going to say, he said it. And then I finally said, okay, well, I'll let Frank know that you can't make it. And he said, Frank, is Frank going to be on the cards? I said, yeah, it's going to be you and him. And he says, when do you need me?
It's funny how things change.
Well, they opened so many doors that way. It's been a great networking, and that's why when I can pick up the phone and call the Jerry Briscoes of the world and people like that they can reach out and touch people, And no, it's been great, and hopefully nobody knows what the future brings, but we do know right now, the future, what we have February the 7th back at the Belle Claire Fairgrounds. We got a couple of more shows there before some of that construction kicks off. And speaking of that, man, you seen the building last night. I mean, they've done a lot of work. The racetrack is coming along well. I mean, the county fair is being planned for later this year.
That's crazy.
Yes, I mean, it's going to be great. It's going to be a great venue. That whole complex is going to come back to life. I know it is, without a doubt.
Used to be the center of town, man. Every what you need to do on a Friday night, Saturday night, involve the fairgrounds. And then it kind of went away, but we're bringing it back.
It's coming back thanks to some good planning from the key people that know what it takes to get that energy back together. And with that racetrack, people's talking about that all over the Midwest, I'm telling you. Kenny Wallace was there, did his promo from there a couple of weeks ago. And
I used to do the demo derbies down there. I ran that demo derby in a stone cold Steve Austin car, and then one we painted up as the Rock, the bull on the cover.
Do you remember when we done the wrestling on the racetrack?
Yes, I remember that too.
So there's a lot of history right there, and so we're excited about that. But we'll be back there on February the 7th. February the 21st, we're going back to a place that you really enjoy, and that's the Ionide Shriners Temple in East St. Louis.
Definitely. The Shriners building is a beautiful building. I wish we could wrestle there every month. I mean, it's just a classic building, and just walk around the history. Talking about history of Belle Claire Fairgrounds, history of the Shriners building. Oh my!
A lot. And, we can't say enough for the Shriners. They've had us, but they've already booked us into 2027. And I don't even know what 2026 is going to bring, but we're going to help out any time we can with our Shriners and any other organizations. But and this thing about this February 21st, it is going to be a matinee show. 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Even better.
They got together this year and said, hey, we want to get our people out there a little early so they can get home. People got to go to church. People get stuff ready on Sundays to go to work on Monday. So what do you think about doing a matinee show? And I said, we'll do whatever we got to do to help you put the butts in the seats there. So mark that date down, February the 21st.
And Bobby D is still the champion.
Bobby D is still the Shriners champion, and a title that you held.
Held it for a long time.
Yeah.
But Bobby D took it from Glenn Williams. Just got to throw that in there.
Just got to throw that in there. So, like I said, fans, we're going to take another little break right now, and we'll come back and we'll wrap up, and we'll let you know what else we got to talk about here at SICW.
Hey everybody, What Were They Thinking is proud to be a part of the show with Herb Simmons at SICW.
Show some enthusiasm, Joe. Put on a damn bow tie. We got Herb Simmons. We got the Kill Arena. We got St. Louis, where Mr. Briscoe is in the Hall of Fame. What Were They Thinking? It's available on Backstage Pass. Sports Kita's our buddies. We talk about the wildest, the craziest, the dumbest, the insane moments in wrestling history that I'm proud to be a part of, because Mr. Briscoe, you're the one that hired me.
And I don't know what I was thinking when I did that, John.
That's not nice. Not nice at all. We love Herb Simmons, and Herb Simmons, you have been there forever. Mr. Briscoe thinks you might be 1,000. I don't think you're a day over 900. We love St. Louis. What were they thinking backstage pass?
There you have it, fans. You know, Jim, that you've seen that a commercial break that we take with JBL and Jerry Briscoe now. Every week it's on there.
Yeah.
And I mean, to have two legends like that brag about SICW, you being a part of it, what does that mean to you?
Just to have the legends actually recognize our organization and tell everyone in the world that it stands out above the rest. I mean, that it means what I'm doing is meaning something to other people, and it can't get any better than that. But what I do want to ask, since SICW really loves JBL and Gerald Briscoe, and you just said that you can reach out to Gerald Briscoe and he can pick up the phone to someone else. I don't know, JBL, Glenn Williams, JBL. I think we might have a connection.
Yeah,
I'm
not sure. I don't know if that commercial that they do, that promo advertising the Sportskeeda, if that's what's got Glenn Williams so aggravated.
Hey,
I don't know, but again, we may look at that. I mean, if he's challenged JBL, and JBL's
times.
Retired. You know, he's doing some commentating for the Mexican wrestling organization.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thought. Like I said, if
It's all about connections, people.
sometimes people should not
Open
their mouth and insert foot. So we'll see. And if it don't, it don't. But it's a good thought. I like that idea.
Just throwing it out. You know, they say if you throw it out into the world, it might come to you.
Yeah.
It might come back. So
or if
I'm
you
just
throw it up
throwing
on the wall,
out
it
there.
may stick. So we'll see. One thing I want to talk about before we get out of here, and we really appreciate everybody hanging in there tonight. Please share this with your family and friends, because that's the way we continue to get the word out there. At TV tapings today.
I knew this was going to come up. So
You know, we saw last month at the show at Swansea Fire Department the interruption from a group called Dysfunction. At least a part of the, I understand there's like 8, maybe 9
Oh my God, there's
wrestlers
more
that are in that group called Dysfunction. One of those individuals that showed up, I know you know personally, Brandon Espinoza.
yeah, and I'm just going to give you my side of things. You know, Saturday, the Swansea Firehouse, I was having a relaxing day off. I was just a fan, just watching the wrestling as it's going down. And then I seen these hoodlums come in with masks on. And immediately, like, I stood up and was like, what the hell's going on here? Because, you know, I kind of know the situation of how things work at SICW. And I was like, wait a minute here, this is different. Who the hell are these people? And that's when we found out.
Well, and I don't think I ever got the time or opportunity to thank you, because when I got called over there by the individuals that were taking the tickets, Brian was up there, and then Mr. Buellhorn, because it was a fundraiser.
Yeah.
And when I got called up there, because they didn't want to pay to get in.
Right.
And when I turned around, I saw you, so I wanted to thank you for at least having my back.
Oh, yeah,
So,
yeah. There's going to be some hands thrown.
But again,
if
we
it-
talked about that on a couple of shows past, but they showed up at TV tapings today, and all I can tell you is that there's some things that are going on that I'm not at liberty to talk about so much right now, but all I can say is stay tuned over the next couple of weeks on Sunday night, and you'll see for yourself what's going on with that. They are another force to be reckoned with. There's no doubt about it. Of course, like I said, you know Brandon Espinoza for a long time.
And I tell you, the locker room is not happy, so we'll see how this plays out, and you guys will see it play out as well.
So that's what I wanted to tell you about Dysfunction. And like I said, they actually sent in a clip, and it's been put on the show, and it says we're coming. Well, they're not coming unless we get to sit down and talk. And they showed up today, but nothing was really. Yeah, they're not going to get anything by that. So, but stay tuned every Sunday night right here on SICW. Championship Wrestling on our YouTube channel. And again, please share it with your family and friends. We enjoy everybody. Leave your comments. Text them, tell them how they can reach you on your program.
Yeah, so, just Jim the Big Texan Hofarth is my YouTube channel. And, even you can reach out to the Squared Ring podcast, because we talk about SICW every week on our YouTube channel. So always talking about wrestling. Wrestling is 90% of my life, but I tell you, this is the best organization that I've ever worked for, and I work for a lot. And hands down, the legends are saying it. Your wrestlers are saying it. It's just got to be true.
Well, and we hope you fans, by way of watching us and coming out and supporting us, we hope to see you back on February the 7th at the Belle Claire Fairgrounds and at the Shriners on February 21st. Fans, we hope you have a good week, and we hope to see you right back here next Sunday evening, 8 p.m. Central.